What's going on, everybody? It's your boy K. Okay, so let's get into this. PS4 Pro. What do you guys think? There's been a lot of talk about the PS4 Pro. Some good, a lot of bad. It kind of seems like I've been looking at a lot of people's reviews and what a lot of people say. And at first, I was kind of hyped about it because I have a 4K TV. But then as they started to talk about the PS4 Pro, Sony, and a lot of the different specs about it, I just got more worried about it. I really think it's stupid, and I'm going to tell you why. These consoles, Xbox One and PS4, when they first came out, I thought they were making a big mistake. And the reason why is because it was on the cusp of 4K, and a lot of 4K TVs were coming out, and a lot of 4K talk was going around, and they made these systems based on 1080p, which at the time I was like, I kind of get, but they should have the option for 4K, because as 4K TVs become popular and more people start to buy them, what are you going to do when your system is only 2 or 3 years old? And if they're anything like last gen, if you make these systems stretch for 10 years, what are you going to do? And they did exactly what I thought they would not do, which was 3 years later, hey, here's some new systems that can run 4K, because we should have released this in the beginning, but instead we're going to be greedy and make more money and wait to push them 3 years later. Now, I kind of understand from the point that maybe the technology at the time, the systems would have been way too expensive, and we already had the new systems, or the last gen systems, for 10 years, so maybe they didn't want to go that route. I get it. These systems, these current systems, PS4 and Xbox One, probably honestly should have came out 5-6 years ago. And then this year we should have got like new 4K or whatever systems to match everything. But maybe because they're, behind schedule with the recession and, the economy and everything, it kind of made their plans fall behind. But now the marketplace is going to be so fragmented. It's going to be so weird, because you see that the PlayStation Pro doesn't even run 4K. Like, it does 4K with some tricks involved, but it's just not necessarily native 4K. And then when it does do 4K, they show that you may not get 60 frames on it. You may only get 30 frames on it. So what's the point of having this nice visual game if I could just run it at 1080p, which would still look nice, but I would get 60 frames versus 4K and only get 30 frames. There's not a lot of people that have 4K yet. I mean, I have a 4K TV, but I'm like the only one of anybody I know that has a 4K TV, right? So what's the point of pushing the Pro out this late in the game? What is the point? Because now a developer has to say, well, do I want to make my game on the based with the PS4 and everything it can do, or do I want to make it for everybody who owns a PS4 and not the Pro? Because even after like a year or two, yes, people will buy the Pro, but you're only going to have 10% probably, or at max maybe like 20% of the PlayStation fan base that has the Pro, and everybody else won't. Now, you'll get certain upgrades. Even if you have a 1080p television, you'll still get certain effects. The frame rates will be more solid. Certain things will run smoother and things like that. And there are certain things that you'll be able to take advantage of even if you don't have a 4K TV. But why? I mean, my greatest fear is that developers will basically make the 1080p version for the PlayStation 4 and then say, okay, here's a crappy upscale version for the PlayStation Pro, because after all, the majority of our customers have your PS4, not the Pro. And I'm afraid that you're going to see just either terrible ports or upgrades, or you're going to see them screw up games just so you have to buy the 4 Pro. For example, let's talk about Final Fantasy 15 what is it, 15 or 16? 15, yeah, the newest one that's coming up. When people have played the demo, now granted it was a demo, so, you know, whatever. They say it plays a little choppy and frame rates aren't necessarily stable. Well, on the Pro, it will be. Things like that have me concerned. Are you going to try to push these nice graphics so the game looks good, but on the PlayStation 4 it may be a little edgy and maybe not run with solid frames because, you know, you really should be buying and playing it on the Pro. So now you're going to be forcing everybody to buy the Pro. That's a fear of mine. Another fear is the extra effort developers have to put into the game market now with that raised prices, right? How's that going to affect the gamers because of these different grades and variations they have to make with the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation Pro? Now the market is separated because even though this is supposed to be like PS4.5, you know, the way that they're going about it, it just leaves a lot of questions. So I'm not particularly going to just jump out there and spend $400 to get a PlayStation Pro. I'm going to sit back and wait because nothing's wrong with my PlayStation 4 and games still look great on my 4K TV with the PlayStation 4. So I'm very happy with that. I'm going to wait and see how it pans out because I have a feeling that this may crash and burn. I feel like, again, they should have released this first. If they would have released this first instead of the current PlayStation 4, which they should have done, it would have been a lot smoother of a transition, or not even transition because you wouldn't need a transition because it's already in the market. Then you have the Scorpio. Look, the Scorpio is going to be a way beefier, way more powerful console than the PS4 Pro is going to be, okay? But there's also issues with that because one, I'm like, well, the price tag's going to probably be a lot higher unless they're waiting a year just to see if they can get the price point lower because things will cost less. But instead of $400, it'll probably be a $600-700 system if it's going to be as strong as Microsoft claims. And then people made the comparison of the Scorpio versus the PS4 Pro. And to me, it's not even a comparison. We all know the Scorpio is going to be more powerful, right? But the Pro is supposed to be serving as PS4.5. To me, the Scorpio is not X1.5, right? The Scorpio to me is just like a brand new system. It's a brand new system. If you're going to put that much power into it, it's just going to be a brand new system. So you can't even compare the two. And it wouldn't even surprise me if a year from now, Sony announces PS5 or does something stupid. Sony has the lead. Sony is doing well. I think they are about to screw it up. Unless they have some really good stuff planned, I honestly think they are about to screw it up, and it concerns me. So I don't really compare the, you know, Scorpio and the Pro because to me they're just like two different systems. So, you know, sorry that this video is so long, guys, but I had to get this off my chest. There's a lot of issues. There's a lot of concerns. I don't recommend any of you going out and buying the PS4 Pro. There's too many questions. There's too many things that can happen. I don't think it's worth it. I think it's stupid to even release it in the way that they're releasing it right now. I think you should have just saved it and a year or two from now say, hey, look, PS5, here's the new system, and then make it as strong as the Scorpio or even stronger or whatever. But I think you should have just announced a new PlayStation and not try to upgrade it to the 4K because that's going to cause a lot of issues, especially with developers having to make things on both systems and both versions and things like that. So, you know, yeah, I would just hold off on it, you guys, in my opinion. So anyways, thanks for, listening to this long rant here. As always, please like and subscribe and share, and I would love to hear your guys' opinions, feelings, thoughts, anything. If you're going to buy it or not, just let me know in the comments below. And as always, peace.